In this lesson, we're going to learn how to solve equations in the form of 8x plus b equals cx plus d, where we have variables on both sides of the equation. So let's look at our first problem. We have 5x plus 7 is equal to 3x plus 15. Now, we have the option of having our x's on the left-hand side of the equation or the right-hand side of the equation. It's really a choice, a matter of your choice. I prefer my equation, my x's, to end up on the left-hand side of my equation. So you're going to see that that's how my problems end up. So what does that mean for me? That means that I need to get rid of the 3x here because it's on the wrong side of the equation. So to get rid of that 3x, I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides of the equation. When I subtract 3x from both sides of the equation, I'll end up with 2x. I'm going to bring down the plus 7. And that is said to be equal to, and 3x minus 3x is 0. So on the right-hand side, only thing I have is 15. Now, I need to get rid of the 7 here. The only way I can get rid of that plus 7 is to subtract 7. So I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides of the equation. When I subtract the 7 from both sides of the equation, I get 2x is equal to 8. Now, I need to get rid of the 2. And because that 2 is attached to that x through multiplication, the only way I can get rid of it is to divide it. So I'm going to divide both sides of my equation by 2. When I divide both sides of the equation by 2, I get x is equal to 4. So that's the value for x. X is equal to 4. Okay. So now let's look at our second equation. We have 7x plus 4 equals 10x plus 16. I like my variables to end up on the left-hand side of the equation. So therefore, that means my 10x is on the wrong side of the equation. So I'm going to have to subtract 10x from both sides of the equation. When I do that, I get a negative 3x. That should be in black. Sorry about that. A negative 3x plus 14 is equal to, and the only thing left on the right hand side is 16 now. Oh, that should be 4, not 14. Okay. Now, I need to get rid of that 4. And the only way I can get rid of that 4 is to subtract it away. And so I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides of the equation. And where did I get that minus 4? Because that was a plus 4, and therefore I have to subtract 4. Now, what do I have left? I have my minus 3x left on the left-hand side of the equation, and I have 12 on the right hand. I still don't have x by itself, so I need to get rid of the negative 3 here. The only way I can get rid of that negative 3 is to divide both sides of the equation by a negative 3. So I'm going to divide both sides of the equation by a negative 3. And so I have here x is equal to, and now 12 divided by a negative 3 is a negative 4. Okay, so let's look at our next one. We have a negative 4x plus 3 is equal to 11x plus 17. So a negative 4x plus 3 is equal to 11x plus 17. First step, I'm going to get rid of this negative, 11x on the right hand side. So I'm going to subtract 11x, and I'm going to subtract 11x. Okay. Oh, made a mistake. This should have been a negative here. Original problem should have been negative. So then that means we're going to add. Sorry about that. That should have been negative 4x plus 3 is equal to a negative 11x plus 17. Okay. So I'm going to add 11 to both sides of the equation. Okay. So therefore, I would have here 7x plus 3, and the only thing left on the right hand side of the equation is 17. Okay, let me get that little mark out the way there. So now I'm going to need to get rid of the 3 here in this problem. And the only way I can get rid of it is to subtract 3 from both sides of the equation. When I subtract 3 from both sides of the equation, I'll get 7x is equal to 14. Now I need to get rid of the 7 here. The only way I can get rid of that 7, I need to divide both sides by 7. When I divide both sides by 7, I get x is equal to 2. Now we have 6x plus 5 is equal to a negative 2x plus 21. What I would like for you to do is to pause the video and you try this problem. Now, the answer to that problem, you should have gotten x equals 2. Now, when we say x equals 2 here, we're saying that's the only number that would make the right-hand side of the equation equal to the left-hand side of the equation. So in other words, if I would take out the x and replace it with a 2, and we would have 6 times 2 plus 5 is equal to a negative 2. Take out the x, put in 2, plus 21. Now we have 12, 6 times 2, which is 12, plus 5 on this side of the line. We have -4 plus 21 on the right-hand side of the line. And when I do 12 plus 5, I get 17. When I do -4 plus 21, I also get 17. So that's how we know that our answer x equals 2 is correct, because I get 17 on one side and I get 17 on the other side. Now let's look at this equation. We have 3x plus 1 is equal to 3x plus 2. Now, when I try to get my x's on one side, look what happens. If I subtract 3x from this side, and I subtract 3x from that side, this is 0. Only thing I'm left with is a 1. This is 0. Only thing I'm left with is a 2. So on one side of the equation, I got 1. On the other side, I have 2. And look what this problem is trying to tell me. This problem is trying to tell me some foolish thing that 1 is equal to 2. And we know 1 does not equal to 2. What we're saying here, or what this information is saying, is this problem has no solution. Which says this: there is no x equals that will make the left-hand side of the equation equal to the right-hand side, just like we did in our previous problem. There is no number that exists that will do that. So we have a no solution. Now let's look at this problem. We have 2x plus 5 is equal to 2x plus 5. When I go to subtract 2x from both sides of this equation, look at what I end up with this. This says 5 equals 5. You don't have to convince me that 5 equals 5. But what does that mean to this problem? First, you should notice that in both of them, there was no more x's in the problem to solve for. And 5 equals means this, that the solution to this problem is all real numbers. Now, what does that actually mean? That means that if I tell you x equals 2, it'll work. If I put in x equals 4 inside the equation, it'll work. If I say x is equal to a -7, when it says all real numbers, it's saying that the solution to this problem has so many answers that we can't even list them, because they're all real numbers. So when there's no x left in the problem and you get a true statement, it means all real numbers. If there's no x left in the problem and you get a false statement, that problem is telling you that there is no solution.